conversation, and I'm so happy to see you again, though we met once in a Google Meet. And very, very happy to have you as my guest speaker today. So, quickly tell my audience who you are, where are you joining from, what you do.
Thank you very much, dear Ranjini, for inviting me to this space. It was very nice meeting you, and I love your community. So thank you very much for this invitation. As we connected, you remember that we have many things in similar. I'm a chemical engineer. I study here in Chile, in South America, and we are. I'm also living in the States for 10 years. I have a family of 3 beautiful children these days, and my 2 oldest daughters are married. My young is still in university. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm also one of my companies. I belong to the Soul community, soul.com, that we facilitate leadership programs that we love to tell you more about this later. And one of the best, one of the basic programs that we have is soul-driven leadership. And the module number 1 is about trust. So couldn't be a better topic, my dear friend, that you invite me to talk today.
Yes, definitely. Trust is something that is very difficult to have in many places, like not just in relationships, but at a customer level, at a company level, and at a leadership level as well. So today's conversation is about really looking at. So since you come from that background of corporate and you've been a C-level coach, and there's a lot of common, between us, just that the niche is different. For all those people who are listening to me for the first time, I am a business coach, and I'm joining from Chennai, south of India, and I'm Ranjini Sanjay. And I've been in corporate, I have a background of engineering, but today we are educators here. And so, my first question to you, Monica, is what are the top 3 strategies leaders can implement to build trust with their teams, especially in a remote or a hybrid work environment?
Great question to reflect. Right after pandemia, the world changed. So for us as leaders, it's very relevant that we incorporate this hybrid workspaces and we adapt and we also develop these new capacities that we need as a leader. So we'll say that probably I will mention 3 strategies. The first one being consistency and integrity. Leaders must align. Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I thought you have a question. Okay, so in this first strategy, consistency and integrity, leader must align their actions with their words. That's very relevant. Creating a foundation of reliability and trustworthiness. In a remote setting, as you mentioned in your question, this includes to being punctual for virtual meetings, following through on communications, in commitments, and maintaining transparency in all decisions that are made. The second strategy that probably will recommend or share with you all is the transparent and frequent communication. We always, as leaders, as human beings, we're always in lack of good communication, but we always communicate less than we should. So definitely establish these regular check-ins and ensure, the clarity, honest updates about goals and expectations and the challenges that we all are going through. It's very relevant. Use various communication channels, as we are all different as how do we the best way to communicate, one-on-one or sending emails or just giving a call. I don't know if in India it happens the same thing, but now we don't talk to each other pretty often. We just probably send messages and text a lot, but nothing. More relevant is have these one-on-one conversations and create these spaces of trust through conversations and through communications. And the third probably strategy is empowerment through collaboration. Collaboration, it doesn't happen by itself. Collaborations start happening when we build the spaces of trust, when we connect to each other, when we listen to each other. So engage team members in decision making processes and provide opportunities for them to take ownership of projects. It's very relevant. We don't see those these days anymore. This leadership of you're gonna do this, you're gonna that. We need to engage people. We need to make sure that we give the opportunity for the people in our teams to grow and develop this capacity that I mentioned at the beginning. So recognizing, the individual contributions and reinforce their sense of belonging and this common purpose is very relevant as well because we feel part of the same. In so we said that we transform companies into communities. When we have a community, we are able to sense this collaboration. We're able to trust to each other because we are building these spaces where we can contribute with our knowledge, contribute with our experiences. So developing these communities takes time, but it's very
Yeah.
rewarding. I would like to mention in this question that you said that in order to build this trust, we need as leaders to we need to develop certain values, and I consider the most important ones trustfulness, the foundation of all virtues. We said essential for fostering reliability and authenticity is key. So, and another value that I think is necessary in this environment to create this trust is justice. Ensuring fairness in decision making and creating an equitable environment, it's the relevance, it's very important for the leaders. And as I mentioned this, now we don't have these structures very hierarchical. Now we all should be leaders. Well, now we all should be these agents of change that the humanity needs. Because if we start waiting for the leader to tell us something, we all need to encourage our people. We all need to be these agents of change. So if you wanted to build this environment of trust, another tool that we use and sold in these leadership programs as well is the consultation. So encouraging open and respectful dialogues that value every voice is very relevant to build this trust. We need to make sure that everybody has, and collaborate and share their opinions. Sometimes, we are a little more
Yeah.
shy because of our personalities, but it's very, very relevant that we encourage that everybody speak up and have their voice, and we can mention that.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. No, it's just not limited to corporates and teams. It is so relevant with our families as well. As a leader of the family, we can also bring these practices home. No, being available, being accessible,
Yes,
being a role model demonstrated, rather than just telling them what to do. You be a demonstration of what you
exactly.
teach, and that's a big example, and it's so beautiful,
That's
no?
right.
And companies becoming communities. I love this, no? Because it's more
Mhm.
about having a structure, hierarchy, but we as communities coming together can really make a huge, huge difference to humanity. Very beautifully said, Monica. Loved it. Now, my next.
Mm-mm. And I like the point that you mentioned, my dear
Mm.
Ranjini. As you mentioned, been in different corporate positions and around the world. I have the opportunity now to serve and be consultant for companies around the world and then with different cultures. And that's so true. We develop these capacities, but we also come home and we start, as a mom, as a wife, this capacity that we all will bring them home. So all this thing that I mentioned to you definitely applies for your families. And then the way that you talk, the way that we encourage our kids. So I'm very happy to have
Yeah,
this conversation
absolutely.
today.
I always no. How do I really judge somebody if that person is really transformed? Like people, and if you are the same person at home and you're still loved, valued, you make others feel heard. Then that transformation. It's not just for the social media. It's not for the companies or the workplaces. It is for our our kids and our spouses to also families to enjoy. Yeah, so bring that home.
Definitely, definitely. Be yourself wherever you
Correct.
are.
Yeah. So moving on, my second question is, how can leaders effectively repair broken trust with their team members, particularly after a significant misstep? So, how you would advise to deal this?
That's a great question and helped me to reflect. Once we did an exercise, if you have a piece of paper that is very straight, very, very clear, if you like, put it all together and then put and wrinkle it a lot, and that's what we call the trust. When you lose trust, it's so difficult to straight this paper again and make it as clean, as beautiful as it was before. But there is a way. It takes a lot of courage and persistence to repair this broken trust. And some of the strategies that I can probably share with you. And the first step should be, acknowledge and apologize. Leader must openly acknowledge the misstep that you mentioned, accepting responsibility without deflecting blame, without judging, as you said as well. A sincere apology that comes from the heart demonstrate accountability and commitment to rectify the situation. So this is what is so relevant, that the leaders and the persons, when we try to rebuild this trust, we need to be so genuine. We need to be so humble. We need to be so open to definitely fix this relationship. Then, after this step, should be rebuilt through consistent action. This is not happen, as I told before, in one step. We need to be consistent. We need to be persistent. So trust is regained over time through repeated trustworthy behaviors. Leaders should focus on delivering, on promises and making their actions visible, aligned with their word. This is so key. We not cannot say one thing and act in different way, because now in this social world that we're living, and everything becomes more transparent as you wish, because we're like we need to be coherent. That's what I call to be coherent. What your thoughts, your ideas, and your actions go aligned with whatever you're saying. So you need to be persistent. That should be the second step. And I will say also that in the spiritual view, the principle of service in leadership emphasizes acting is the best interest of others to rebuild confidence and mutual respect. So it's an act of serving. We need to be in serve of the other people, of our team, of our communities, of our families, of course. And then, last but not least, create a space for dialogue and healing. This takes time. So create the spaces with meaningful conversation, that we call them in soul. I would love to, maybe next and another time you can invite me, that we can have a live meaningful conversation. A meaningful conversation for us is an open discussion, that we can talk about any topic, but we come with the within a space that we are going to be learning from each other. We're not going to be judging each other. We're going to open our heart, and we're going to be able to all share our feelings, in order to heal this relationship. Engage in consultation. Consultation is another way that we do to rebuild this relationships, and also to promote this collaboration, ensuring that everybody can share their feelings, as I told you before. And then that's probably the way, a way to practice. So see, it's not one step, because it requires time, it requires courage. And in order to repair this broken trust, I will say that the values that we need to pay attention is humility, admitting mistakes, and demonstrating the willingness to learn together. I don't know everything, but we can learn together. We can put the situation and learn from each other. The patience is another value that definitely required, because as I told you, this is going to require time. Understanding that the rebuilding, trust takes time and a lot of effort. And forgiveness, both seeking and offering forgiveness to mend relationships. Every situation has two ways to see this one, and if the more people involved, an issue of any situation uh, can have different eyes, different feelings. So if we put together the group or the people and we start sharing these values, I'll say that will give us an opportunity to rebuild these relationships,
Yeah.
my dear friend.
So thank you so much for bringing this up and sharing trust is the most profound example was the paper example that you gave. It's really tough to remove those wrinkles. So it takes a long time to repair, heal, and come back. May not be 100%, but to a certain level. And one another thing I would add is to create a safe space for all this to happen. We need a safe space to have those meaningful conversations. So yeah, being we
Yes,
have to take that ownership and accountability to create that, where you can open up, share, and heal, and let go of what has happened. And most importantly, the first thing that you said is to taking that responsibility, acknowledging, and then starting from that point. So creating a safe space is something like, so being leaders, I've often felt like we don't find these safe spaces easily available. We need to create them. And
we need
yeah,
to
that's
create.
why you have a community called soul.com, and I do my retreat programs with my communities to just bring that coming people coming together, and we can ensure that it's a safe space to have these conversations and heal ourselves. And great
Beautiful.
reminder. So continuing what we were discussing about the trust, I would like to learn more about the role of vulnerability. How does vulnerability play a role in building trust? Like, I think this was no easy to continue from the point where we left the last question. And how can leaders strike the right balance between vulnerability and strength?
Great. I always thought that vulnerability it was a sign of
Yes.
weaknesses. And once I start understanding that requires a lot of honesty and that it requires a lot of humanity to show up vulnerable in a group. I'm also being coach of C leaders of CEOs around the world for companies and their lines. And there's a space of a lot of ego, let me tell you. So when you open those spaces, of course you need to know everything that there's invulnerable. There's no spaces for vulnerability. When we start practicing and opening our heart and telling, in front of everybody, probably sometimes I don't know something that I can investigate and I can back to you. That creates a lot of spaces to go to different dimensions. I'll call it that way. So and if we reflect on this, the role of vulnerability, how vulnerability build trust, I would say by being the authenticity is key, as we mentioned before. When leaders acknowledge their limitation or admit mistakes, it fosters this authenticity, making them more relatable and approachable. That's very key. You're trying to build this trust and you feel more close, people feel more close to you, and then you can also don't know you don't have all the answers, but together we can create these spaces. That's very magic. Empathy also is very relevant here. Demonstrating vulnerability through empathy shows a genuine understanding of others' challenges, strengthening these relationships. So, authenticity, empathy, and trust, reciprocity. Vulnerability encourages, teams members to open up, creating mutual trust and deeper connections. When we go through these spaces, I don't know if you're familiar with Theory U. Theory U is an investigation that's been longer than 30 years in MIT by Otto Scharmer, and he shared that this study that there's three main disconnections in humanity today. The first disconnection is we are so disconnected from our spirituality. We humans are disconnected from our best
Yeah.
version. And this leadership and this spiritual leadership, what we try to do is to build this capacity. That's what we do with Soul. So we build this capacity to be able that dimension of spirituality, embrace it and bring it together as a leader. And the second disconnection, the theory you mentioned, is that we're disconnected from other people. We just so
Oh.
isolated. It's me against the world. It's me, and it's all about me. But when we start creating this empathy, we need to start seeing the other. We need to start feeling this other person. In the moment that we start opening up and connecting with the other person and with other human beings around us, the empathy start happening, and then the collaboration and the trust start happening. The third
Yeah.
disconnection, just not to not mention the third disconnection, that we're so disconnected from nature. We're devastating our planet. We're using 1.8 planets resources that we don't have. So when we're going to start stopping, reflecting, and then elevating our consciousness, that's very relevant. So all those three disconnections. The beauty is that it's a journey. It's a journey. That's what is called theory U, because we go deep, we create this deep conversation, we talk to about our issues, our problems, we create empathy, and then we start building trust. We start building trust, and then we transform ecosystems into ecosystems. Remember that at the beginning I told you that we in Soul, we create these communities, we transform companies or groups into communities, and all this journey takes time and takes courage to develop this.
Yes.
The other point about the vulnerability, um, it's really relevant to striking the right balances. Show vulnerability with purpose. Share experiences or challenges that reinforce key lessons or values, ensuring the focus remains on growth and learning. We need to learn together here. We need to grow together. Maintaining confidence is key. When we create these communities, the honor code here is that we create a space that is safe, that is confidence, and then whatever happens to the groups, it belongs to the group. So you create this environment. Okay, I feel secure here. I can come up with my ideas. I can bring my point, and it's so relevant that we're going to be learning together. Okay, and the other point is relevant to mention that boundaries in contact. Consider the the appropriateness of sharing based on the situation, audience, and organization culture. We need to, regulate ourselves. We need to bring ourselves, as we mentioned, without judgment, with an open mind, with an open heart. They're going to be, able to keep this balance in the situation, in the culture that we're living, or the environment that we are putting together. And then a leader also could acknowledge a missed goal, admit personal responsibility, and involve the team in brainstorm solution. That is so beautiful. Imagine, this is not happening a lot today, but it is happening in a lot of company that the leaders, as we shared before, opens their opportunity. I'm not perfect. I'm a human being. I need your collaboration. When we start collaborating to each other, people start feeling that, oh, I'm very relevant and very important for them. The boss is asking me, or the leader is asking me for some suggestions, some ideas, some solutions. And that's where the magic start happening. So I would say that, this spiritual approach and leadership and their principles encourage leaders to prioritize service to others while being authentic, and practice all these values. So if we rescue the values that we need for this vulnerability, it's humility, requires a lot of courage, as we talked before, recognizing your limitations and looking and encourage collaboration. Empathy, the other value that I like to rescue, as we talked before. Understanding and sharing the feeling of others to build deeper conditions. It's not about me now, it's a leadership of service. I'm putting myself in service to create this new community, to create this project together with the feedback and opportunities that we all build this together. And truthfulness, sharing authentic experiences to foster mutual trust. So I'm not going to be coming up with stories. You can tell, I'm sure you're, interviewing a lot of people around the world, my dear friend. And you can tell when someone is genuine and when sometimes someone is telling you stories. So that is spaces. I don't know if you have some of those experiences.
Yeah.
That would be the relevance of vulnerability and then creating this trust environment.
Wow. Yes, this was a tough one actually. Vulnerability and strength, and I have learned from from my experience, like it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable
Yes.
in a space where, especially when it comes to social media, when we create content, and most of the time of the year I work online. I have only this access to meet people around the world. So I have only my content to speak about what I do,
Mhm.
who I do.
Mhm.
So yes, initially it was I had this inhibitions, like people are judging me, getting
Mhm.
embarrassed about how I look, what do I say, my accent, and all of that. But over a period, it has become my strength. Let me put it this way, like, the way I look, the what I
Mhm.
speak, what I do, has, I could, you can build, build a brand around that, being a
Yes. Yes. Just by being yourself again, it's the power of being honest and
I
being
would say,
yourself and being,
and only by
trusting your
experience you
message.
learn.
Mhm.
No, can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yes.
So there
Yes.
was interruption. So what I'm trying to say is, when you experience, you understand what is this vulnerability as strength. Being courageous to be there
Mhm.
and accept, acknowledge, and be available to, put that humanity up front of you. So amazing conversation. I could hear a lot of your experience coming through as you were sharing. So tell us a little bit about what you are offering. Like, what are your services? Though you have spoken a lot about the soul.com, but how people can
Mhm.
reach you? Who are the people you want to work with? So share a little bit about that as well.
Okay, that's wonderful. Uh, well, as I tell, let me just share with you so you see that this is very true. As I mentioned to you, our first book is Soul Driven Leadership, and our first book is based
Wow.
on trust. And then this trust, how do we reshape the world, creating this new mind that probably is so necessary, too relevant for us to develop these capacities, to have these meaningful conversations. And we have this methodology that, as I told you before, we would love to have a live session that we can share,
Mm,
interact with people, and then we can, have this experience of this
yeah.
methodology that allowed us to have this space of trust. We create trust in a very almost it's like a catalyzer, this
Mhm.
methodology, because we are able to, in a short period of time, experience, and as adults, oh my God, in a short period of time, in short time, in short exercises of listening, for example, we are able to create this environment of trust. And then you feel that you're serving to others, that you're, listening for the first time. Listening is a key
Yeah.
capacity, but really listening. Because we're so busy, we're here, we're there, we're all around, we're checking what's going on in the social media. But when we
Mm,
pause, when we give ourselves some time, we connect with our best version, with our spirituality, with our all this integration of the self, and we put on service this listening capacity is so powerful. The magic start happening. People start opening. Then we identify that we are in the same situation, that we're together in this, and they were not lonely. Oh, similar things are happening in my dear friend in India, and this is so beautiful. I have chills now because from Chile all the way
yeah.
to India, doesn't matter we're different time zones. That doesn't matter. That we share a lot
Yeah.
of things in common. A fourth thing in common that we have, we're engineers, we're women, we're mothers of kids. We're also, English is our second language, but nothing will stop us because we don't care if people, oh, the way that she talks English. It doesn't matter to us because we have a big mission. We just serve to our humanity, my dear. So I would love to keep in touch with, people can get in touch with us. I probably can, my email is very easy. Monica at soul.com. So it couldn't be easier. So that's the way we can reach us. And I would love to, maybe we can investigate and have this meaningful conversation in a group of women in India. I know you're doing a great service, developing and empowering women to feel that they can do the, feel that they can be this change in the world, my dear friend. So I wanted to thank you for this beautiful space and for the service that you do to our women around the
Thank
world.
you, dear. And yes, I don't know, maybe we the first time we met, I knew, like, no, it's just that we are two different bodies, but maybe a same spirit is there around
Yeah,
us, like so much things in common. But yes, we are
yeah,
traveling both in the same direction. We are aligned
yes,
to what
yes.
we are here for. And
That'll
yeah,
be,
Monica, you want to say something?
yeah. If we can share very fast, I would like to share with you and then read this, or I'm gonna try to share my screen with you, so maybe we can put it together, and then so we can. We're
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
try.
sure.
We're
Go
gonna
ahead.
try it and see if that's gonna work for us. Okay, so we're gonna share the screen. And hopefully, we're gonna be able to see. You tell me if that's
Yeah.
not showing the screen.
Yes.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, I can see the screen. The world of humanity.
Would you like to share?
Yeah, I would like to.
Would
Yeah.
you, would you like to read?
World of humanity has two wings. One is woman and the other is man. Yeah. Yes. I can see.
Oh, there.
Yeah. So the bird cannot fly until both wings are equally developed. Wow. Flight will not be possible if one wing is weak. Success and prosperity will not be achieved in their proper form until the world of women is equal to the world of man. As far as acquisition of virtues and perfections is concerned. That's so beautiful. That's
You know, that's very powerful.
yes, that is
When
like,
you
what will be your
when we were sharing about vulnerability, we know as
yeah, yeah, go
engineers
ahead, go ahead.
the tough world that is this corporate sometimes that we're not equally, challenged. How do we embrace? How do we become this equality for women and men? How do we start building this relationship based on trust? I'm definitely and positive that we're going to change the world, my dear friend. And then, just as you mentioned here, maybe that's my email, and then information that probably people can get in touch with us through WhatsApp. We use a lot of WhatsApp, or through the email.
Yeah. And Monica is available on LinkedIn, and you can reach out to her. And we had a beautiful conversation, as so many things to reflect on. But before we close this, and definitely we'll have many more conversations where we can create safe spaces, and where people can
Yes.
have meaningful conversations and heal. And a lot of practice we will be doing as a community. What will be your final message for today as we close?
Yeah, I would like to first thank you for this space. I feel that it was a safe space for us to share our deep feelings and knowledge about this topic. That when we integrate ourselves and we become one with the universe as well, we're able to be this change, be this trust. There's no other way that we can create trust environment if we're not trustfully person. So we need to be these changes that we wanted to encourage and that we want to see in the world. So, but just by being this integration self, that you know your mission, you know what you need to do, but you develop and we develop ourselves, you know, we develop our capacities, it's almost a responsibility for us to grow our spirituality, to be these values and serve others as being this coherence. And then the rest is history, my dear friend. And everything start happening. And then you are this love, you are this spaces of trust, you are this leader of changing things, and it's possible. It's a good opportunity for all of us to take this consciousness about that we can make possible every change, any change in the world, just by being
Yeah.
ourselves.
I would agree and second that, because I think this is my 10th year as an entrepreneur, so I've come a long way to realize the journey is to more become conscious about who I am and why I'm here for. And the more I get clear about this, when I allow myself to become a channel through which the universe can send that love and abundance to people, the more, so you have to become, you have to let go of who you are and what you are, the labels that you
Yes,
own. You just become a channel and allow that to be that greatness, and let the world see and
definitely.
what's possible inside this. Yeah.
I also I didn't notice, but we have some comments. So thank you very much for the people that participated today. I know a lot of people's gonna see us later, so let's keep in touch and let's keep our promises. Let's come up with a meaningful conversation together, and we can invite the whole world,
Yeah,
my dear
we
friend.
can create that right here, right?
Yay!
Thank you and have a great day, and enjoy the time with family, and happy new year. And there's lot of action coming up for both of us, 2025, and I'll see you soon.
Yes.
Take care.
Thank you very much, dear. Have a wonderful end of the year and the most prosperous and beautiful
Yes.
2025.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, darling. Bye bye.